a day when the world has set aside for us to take a look at the foods we eat and how to get them positively affecting our system when we take them. Welcome to Good Morning Anambra, the discussion segment, and we are happy that we are here with you. How safe is it? The water you consume, how safe is it to your system? You that sell food, how safe is the food you sell to the persons who buy them from you and who consume them later? Well, that's what we're going to take a look at today. We're going to take a look at different ways we can make our food safe. Your role as Onye Anambra, your role as a Nigerian to make the food that you dispense safe. And you that take food, what are the precautions you must take to make sure that the food you consume is safe? That's actually what we're going to discuss today on Good Morning Anambra. And to talk with us on the show, Enhancing Food Safety in Anambra State, Current Challenges and Future Strategies, we have an expert here. We're talking about the Program Manager, Food Safety and Hygiene, Kumwash, Ministry of Health, Dr. Rose Amasiani. Dr. Rose Waneka Amasiani, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. My good people of Anambra State, Ototo Oman.
Okay, and here co-presenting with me is Obinna. Wandiva Anyuku.
Obinna.
Makanke did not onye omenada, onye Nigerian.
I'm Obinna, Obinna, and of course it's a great. Hope you do join us and listen on to and watch us as we discuss the importance of eating safe and making sure that the food we give out to people is basically healthy, because food is like medicine to us.
Okay. Statistics has it that 173 million people suffer from cases of diarrhea, and these are caused by foodborne illnesses. And then annually we have like 33,000 deaths, from foodborne diseases. So, Dr. Rose, let's take a look at, the situation that we have in Nigeria as relates to food safety. How safe are we with the foods we eat?
In Nigeria,
yes,
we're not getting it right. That is why you are talking about the statistics of people that suffer diarrhea. It's not only diarrhea. We have, according to United Nations, WHO, they said globally every year, 600 million people suffer from one illness or the other, about 200 foodborne diseases.
200?
Yes, foodborne diseases. And in that 600 million people that suffer from one illness or the other as a result of consumption of contaminated food, either by microorganisms, fungi, bacteria, viruses, and chemicals, and additives, and allergens as a result of consumption of food that is contaminated by all these agents that cause these diseases. 420,000 people die annually. And among that 420,000 people, 125,000 are under 5. So you see that, look at that statistic, which means in 1 every 10 persons suffer one one illness as a result of consumption of contaminated food. That is why I'm saying that we are not getting it right. Because people are in Nigeria, people are just doing people that are in food chain are just doing anything as they understand, because they're supposed to pass a bill on food safety. There's a policy on that, but waiting for a bill to consolidate the policy.
Okay,
but that one has not been signed.
We'll talk more about the policy so that we know how much do people know about the policies, how people friendly are the policies, how far have we implemented the policies? Yes.
Right. You just talked about how well we are not getting it. So what are some of these things that we are doing wrong about food safety in Nigeria?
Okay. If you are moving along inside the market or in the street, you see people that are exposing food that is ready to consume. For the reach of flies, dust. I know dust carries microorganisms. You don't understand. And people, and what they use to process the food, some of them are, even the surroundings are not hygienically safe. Because there's an adage that said, if that food is not safe, that food and drink that is not safe, please don't eat or don't drink. Because once you take it, there might be a pathogen or chemicals or anything that can contaminate the food that will cause illnesses in the human body. So, okay, look at people now, the preserving of bananas and the plantains. You can see people are preserving it with carbide.
Okay, we'll talk about those preservatives. Obina just said that means I shouldn't be buying corn. That was actually what he said.
That is why we are doing this sensitization now, for us to do it right. Because you might be buying those things because one, ignorance and poverty can make somebody to buy something without even knowing that food, that thing the person is eating is not safe. And they can see, let's assume corn now, that might be contaminated by fungi. And this fungi now, for example, there's a fungi we call Aspergillus flavus. If it contaminates the food, it produces what we call mycotoxin that produces which is a mycotoxin that can produce aflatoxin, that is a highly carcinogen that causes cancer. And let's assume a family is consuming that food, that corn, every day. It's a table food. And you know that corn is a table food in Nigeria. And you keep on consuming that corn that is contaminated by Aspergillus flavus that causes, that predispose mycotoxin, called aflatoxin in the food. You see, over a long time, the person can suffer a disease that is not in the lineage of the family, because the person has been consuming food that is contaminated by that aflatoxin, which is a highly carcinogen that causes cancer, like cancer of the lungs. That is why during food anybody in the food chain, whether you're a producer, whether you're preparing it, or whether you are even down to table, from farm to table, you must maintain safety to protect the consumers, to protect everybody. Because you don't know when one thing or the other will contaminate the food. So everything we are talking is safety in all of them.
Doc, when we were talking, you talked about, when we consume food, contaminated food over a long period, it could lead to some diseases that are not associated with your lineage. Now, when you talk about this, people have this myth, this belief, certain beliefs, cultural beliefs about food. Do you understand? So I don't know how we're going to explain to our people, Africans, Nigerians, and Igbo, the Anambra, that when you see gari that is exposed in the market, or this smoked fish that is exposed in the market, that you shouldn't buy it and then go and look for one that is covered.
That is why every action, like this year, Global Food Safety Day team said, food safety, prepare for the unexpected. It can be mild, it can be a severe, it can be anything that results as a food contamination, which might lead to epidemics. So, there's somebody telling me that food it doesn't kill or water doesn't kill. The person is just saying this person is ignorant of the adverse effects of microorganisms. They are ubiquitous. You can't even see it. They're on the air. They're in everywhere. They can contaminate that food. Okay, let me ask them now. Do we get sick in this our country, or globally? Do people get sick?
People also believe that that our immunity is toughened by the kind of food we eat. That was when during COVID, they said it was reported that corpses will be dropping on the streets of Africa. But the Gates said that. But it didn't happen that way. They now said, immunity. That's why.
Maybe during that COVID, let me tell you, that our temperature, we maybe didn't support the growth of the COVID-19.
Okay.
It didn't support it because it's always strong in where we have a cold environment. Do you understand? And also, God was on our side. And in short, God was on our side. What they projected is not the mind of God. But somebody telling me now that because of our immunity, haven't they heard about somebody suffering from diarrhea? Like 2 days ago, somebody was stooling, one lady was stooling, and she died as a result of she was purging. She just died. A woman of, let's assume, early 40s, she just died.
Very unfortunate.
Maybe one microorganism or the other contaminated the food. Maybe it will be the one that is highly purulent, that maybe they could not check it. She gave up. All the electrolytes in her system got finished. So I don't know when she went to the hospital, whether she has been managing herself. And the thing just it was on a severe distance, and she gave up.
And of course,
so,
in situations like this, there will be a lot of fingers will be pointing at things that we cannot see.
We cannot see, but we know that germs kills. Our immunity. Yes, God gave us immunity, but there's a way you can keep on suppressing the immunity. At times, the immunity will not be all that strong again to guard our system against all those infectious organisms. And we start having the effect of the infectious organisms. Okay, somebody that is telling me now, okay, every time, like all this open defecation we normally talk about, people will defecate in the open. When rain falls, it must push it into the river. And people are drinking their fecal materials unknowingly. You see how many grams of fecal materials they'll be taking without knowing it. They will tell you this is the water we have been taking time immemorial. Without knowing that this diarrhea, this typhoid fever, and they keep on telling you, hey, this typhoid fever has killed me. Some typhoid lives in this physics that contaminate the water, which is not safe, and they're taking it. And once food and water is not safe, it's not supposed to be taken into the system. Do you understand?
Yes, and this also reminds me of the situations that we have. You talk about fecal materials getting into our food when it rains. And most of these products are sold, near gutters, drainages, these vendors.
I remember buying this sweet rice, jollof rice, a few days ago, and I saw rats around there, but the rice is very sweet.
Can you imagine? Is
it roasted one or live one?
No, I was walking around, of course, the restaurant
and we know what mice can cause.
Yeah, exactly.
Rats can cause.
The drainage thereabout. So the rice was but the rice was very sweet.
Yeah, but water could splash from there. You said it's delicious. Okay.
It was not in the food though, but I'm just saying I saw the mouse or the mice around thereabout. So
most times when you go to markets to buy tinned food, you see some of them dented and all these. Does it have any implication? Buying dented food?
Yes,
tinned food.
I'm even advising us to leave something in tins.
Okay. So it's a part of it.
It's better you eat organic food, things what the source, what it is. But some of the tin foods can be contaminated by a microorganism. For example, Clostridium perfringens.
Simple man's English.
Okay, contaminated by microorganisms. This Clostridium is a bacteria. At times, if you go see that some people, like when we at rain, that people will take if you feel that your hemoglobin is not all that this thing, you mix a malt and not malt and the tin tomato and drink. I have people we are doing it.
Wow.
Tell me if you take the one that is contaminated by this organism I just mentioned now, and that one is that one corrodes. You don't understand. The person will start purging. You wanted to boost your hemoglobin without knowing that you're causing yourself another harm. And I don't even know who gave them that idea. People began to practice it. So any food that is dented or any thing you said that the thing just swell, please don't buy. And even like me, I don't even like buying something on tins because I know that it contains preservatives, additives, which is not is not organic. That we're supposed to eat anything that is nature. Let us have Ubazona in surrounding our environment. Let us go back to the nature. Eat things that is natural. Do you understand? That are natural, I mean to say, and leave all those things that are imported. since we began to eat that what we normally buy from outside, you see that some of the diseases we are suffering now is not what we normally hear before during the olden days, because they eat food from nature.
Okay,
where are our bakas? Where are our tazi? Where are our anchoans? Where are all those things that God gave us? We just
recently they condemned the ofapo, which I know some people cook with what's it called, nchuanwu, to reduce the
ofapo. You know that that's otoro, what they call it. It's not good in the system. Okay. Because it's the unsaturated fats. Ofapo, like me, I don't even eat it. Since this year, I've not cooked it. Do you understand? Because if it's red oil, it's good for our eyes because it contains vitamin A. But that thing that they normally pour out after making that red oil, you know, they always pour it out. Okay. And we keep on consuming it time. That is what normally thickening that ofapo we are eating. Okay. So for some people, because like now tomato is very costly, people just began to cook that ofapo. Why not use normal vegetables? Right. Use also use like all these cabbages. You can use it to make sauce and eat, or use our ogo and prepare vegetable stew and eat, and they reduce the intake of that ofapo. Not that they will not take it, because the ofapo is always sweet, but something that is just in moderation.
All right. We'll be talking about how unsafe food and thereabouts. Can you let us know some of the unsafe activities or some of the unsafe approaches we take on probably maintaining food or preserving food? You just talked about cabat for banana and very unnatural preservation of food, especially in tins. Because very recently, one Taiwo on X, now Twitter, was complaining about buying golden mon here in Nigeria, but when he got back to the States, he found, let's say, weevils inside a packaged golden mon. I'm sorry to say that for the brand, but that's what we saw. So, what are some of these, unsafe processing of food and preservation of food?
Like, when I wanted to say it, I was cut off. Like you see, you can see all this thing. People preserve roast granite now with acid. Instead of, they say there is using gas and using firewood. They are very costly. I saw it. Some people were roasting. Once they put little acid, granite will just fry and they'll bring it for selling. Okay, another one is another harmful this practice. Like people that sell this dry fish, sell this our rice and beans and all these cereals. They use snipers to preserve it. And you see them, they spray it on top of this thing. And people will now, the thing will now, and they will mix it and they will tell you. That one day I was in a market. I was correcting them on the wrong thing. That they want one boy that now told me, am I doing, is he the only one that is doing it? Because they think it's a normal thing. And when somebody buys such thing without even washing it properly, and mind you that when they put that snipers, it has entered deep inside the fish. Inside the fish or anything they use it to inside the beans. And people will be eating those things. Before you know it, and you know that thing is poison. Something that can kill weevils and the other thing. It causes a lot of harm to us. Even application of fertilizer in farm, pesticide and herbicides from farm. That's the way they will apply it. If they don't apply it wrongly, it will enter into the noodles of the food we are consuming and contaminate the food. That is why, as I said, starting from farm to the table, everybody that is in the food chain must maintain safety and hygiene. And even in storage of foods, if you don't store that food, some people will leave the food they are selling to people, and it will get molded. That is, mold will contaminate it. And this mold, what they deposit inside food is mycotoxin. And this mycotoxin, once the food has been preformed in food, it doesn't. If you cook the food under high temperature, the organism will die. But the toxin has been predisposed. It is there in that food, and it will be very difficult. It is always very difficult to remove it by heat. And somebody will be consuming that food all the time, over a long period of time, long time effect. it can predispose, it can lead to all these e-health we are talking about. If I begin to mention different mycotoxins and what they cause in the human system, when
That's what you should tell us.
okay, like I said something of aflatoxin now, which causes cancer of the lungs, or maybe in any part of the system. There's one again, we call deoxyribonucleic. It's also a toxin, mycotoxin, produced by fungi, which reduces the immune system. It has effect on our immune system. Do you understand? And the person's, once the immune system is depleted, any infection that comes, the body mechanism of the person cannot fight it. Okay. And the disease will come in. Okay, there's one that happened in China one time, when they have a mummification of organs of male.
What does that mean?
Mummification, permanent damage to the reproductive system as a result of zearalenone that affected the corn they ate that time. Over a long period of time, they began to see their boys begin to have mummification of their organs. And you know what it means. It's a permanent damage to the reproductive system. That is why we want to allow our food to be contaminated by molds, especially the one that produce toxins. Not every mold produces toxins. It's the filamentous mold that produces toxin on food. So we should not allow our food to be contaminated by all those molds. Okay. And at times when you come to the market, they will tell you this rice is 100 naira, this one is 150. You will not know why. This one is molded. Because of poverty and ignorance, we'll buy it. It's cheap. We'll keep on, and that rice may be one bag of rice. By the time that rice is consumed by a family over a long period of time, if the person's immune system has been suppressed by other mycotoxins, the person can start developing one of the adverse effects of contamination.
Yes, because I wanted to, Ndebani have devised a means of removing molds in foods. They will use oil, clean it up, bread that is mold. They will use oil and clean it up. Fish, sometimes they will, they spray oil on it and all this. So what you're saying is that these things are not having any effect on
it's there in the food, and if peradventure the one that the mold that when molds contaminate foods, we have different molds there. There can be aspergillus, there can be fusarium, there can be penicillium, there can be different genera of molds.
Okay.
So the one that once they rub that oil, that mold toxin is there.
Let's look at.
And you won't know when you consume the one that's more than a acceptable limit for human consumption in your system, because we have a acceptable limit.
Okay, are there other ways we can identify foods that are spoiled already that people preserved in their own way?
Once maybe like now, maybe you spray something on maybe all this thing, and you see that it is moldy, or the thing is soured, like this our soup. We don't supposed to consume it.
Even some people add account to make sour food,
to make it
fast soup.
That is why this food safety is very, very important for our people to know. Even if you add that account, it does not remove. I say even at high temperature, if that toxin is there, if it's the one that is that is highly carcinogen, the heat does not remove it.
Probably it sweetens the food now.
Don't understand. It's there, and people keep on consuming it. Like when we are small, at times our soup will sour. We manage it because we don't know that time. But now I have known. You don't supposed to consume it. Do you understand? Because you wouldn't know the extent of, because there is no quantification at that time. The only thing that because of we want to quench hunger, we eat it. Do you understand?
Because the economy is very sweet now, very beautiful and smiling, people tend to go for certain food items like casualty tomatoes, that's awarawa tomatoes, they go for it. And there's this recent campaign by medical doctors against it, that there's a white substance that comes out of it that it's very dangerous to health.
You use your money to buy poison. That is what I'm talking about, that mold now. Why not buy why not buy mold? It's mold now. Wow. Why not buy? But the only thing is that at that time we have not screened to know the type of mold, because mold have different genera. We call it genera and species. To pin it, is it this one or this one or this one? But when looking at it, because mold are macroorganisms, you see it by your eyes. without knowing that it has predisposed toxin in the food. Because they are feeding on the substrate in that food. By that time, depositing toxins. And you use their money to buy it because you feel that you cannot buy the wholesome one.
So no matter how you cook that tomatoes, it's not
I
safe.
say it is very difficult to remove the toxin under high temperature. So the only thing is to just don't buy it. If you don't have money to buy that wholesome one, I said something about vegetable. When things become okay again, you begin to eat your tomatoes, or you buy very little and augment it with vegetables. It's even good in your system, in our system, than buying that awarawa.
Obina, just briefly, because we'll soon take a break. So
let's look at meat, consumption of meat, suya, and the rest. How best to be, because there's a lot of talk about suya, not be the way it's being that roasted meat, There's a lot of talks about how it's being sold, the smoke from the fires, and a whole lot of things. What's it
because yes, you know that even smoked fish itself. There was a time I saw an article that it contained that smoke, that carbon, and it's true, that carbon is not even good to our system. Do you understand? That carbon, some people, if you roast it with this charcoal, that is maybe it's not good to roast it when that smoke is just coming. Do you understand? You can use oven. You can use the smoke that is now red. Maybe you use this one they call iron this thing, and you make sure that there is no coming of those smokes. If at all you will roast, do you understand? And we make sure that you don't expose that to flies, to any vector, disease vector, that can deposit any organism that is harmful to the food.
Okay, if you've just joined us, the program is Good Morning Anambra, and here we are talking of ways of enhancing food safety in Nigeria, in Anambra State, and we've been having here giving us what we need from Dr. Rose Waneka Amasian. She is the manager, Food Safety and Hygiene, and of course WASH, Ministry of Health. We want to take a break and to go to the street to feel people's pulses. When we return, we'll also bring in folks from Consumer Protection Agency. So join us, don't go anywhere.
It's simple. We know that the most of the diseases we suffer today, 80% of them is based on what we eat. And so for us to be safe, we have to observe the basic hygienic principles by ensuring that what we eat, from the point we are buying it, that we are buying from a decent environment, to the point of processing the food even before preparing it, and after preparing, making sure that you still keep the environment free of any kind of contamination. So when you observe the basic hygienic principle, then you can be sure that what you are eating what will not harm you in any form.
What we eat is our health. What you eat in your body, or anything you take in from your mouth, is your health. You're supposed to know the essence, how you eat. You won't eat that you are eating. Because if you eat too much, or you eat anything that you want to eat, it cannot help you in future.
First thing, we should consider preservation. That is one common thing everyone should know how to do, right? So you can create awareness on how to preserve food, how to also protect food, and we talk about hygiene when it comes to food keeping and food consumption, right? So this is one very thing we should take note of. Also impact the younger ones because they are more vulnerable to such things, right? Such effects. So one thing you also need to do is know the kind of fertilizer, know the kind of nutrients we give to the soil, to the plants, to the foods, to the fruit as well. So these are the things we need to also put into considerations on that.
Preservation, and there are different ways of preserving. You can preserve through refrigerating your foodstuff. You can also preserve through the sun, like your fish heating. Heating also is also another way of preservation. Some countries, they also preserve their food with some chemicals, but the chemicals shouldn't be the one that is not harmful, like a chemical that is good, that is being regulated to ensure there's no harm when it's being used to the foodstuff to preserve it.
Great news for Anambra Broadcasting Service ABS audience. You can now watch ABS television through any of these ways.
Buy a terrestrial antenna and connect to your television. Search ABS Channel 24 Oka or ABS Channel 27 Onitsha. Install StarTimes cable decoder and search ABS Channel 113. Install Metro Digital cable decoder and search ABS Channel 29.
Watch ABS TV on your smart TV or smartphone by downloading Anambra Broadcasting Service app on Google Play Store. Also watch via ABS Facebook page at ABS Radio Television and ABS YouTube page at ABS Television Oka.
ABS TV is now also on satellite. You can watch us from anywhere in Nigeria and other African countries. Simply install our TV decoder brand and tune to channel 315 or install any free-to-air satellite decoder and search for ABS TV.
Whichever option you choose, stay abreast of breaking news, documentaries, children's shows, talk shows, comedy, sports, movies, and lots more on your darling TV station.
For adverts and program sponsorship, contact 0803 388 8526 or 0806 883 9902. ABS, Heartbeat of the East.
Anambra Broadcasting Service, ABS. With delight, we bring you the light that we...
Back, remember it's still World Food Safety Day and we'll be discussing food safety all this while. And right now we have been joined by a new entrant and we're talking about Engineer Adoramba. Engineer Adoramba is the head, Quality Assurance and Development, Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC. Engineer Adora. No.
Oh, thank you. Good morning.
All right, let's quickly go because we don't have much time. Let's quickly go to tackle. Already we established the causes of food safety being bastardized. We've talked about a lot of things that can show that our foods are not safe, and now we want to take a look at how to stop our foods from not being safe. So let's quickly know the mission and vision of your organization.
Okay, thank you. FCCPC, like we've heard, we protect consumers. So the interest of the general public is at our heart. And where food safety is concerned, we play a very huge role in sensitizing the public. We also go on factory inspection. Because when you talk of food safety, I know we have talked about it earlier. It's from manufacturing or production down to your mouth. So the job is for everyone. There are basic principles that you can use to achieve food safety. We're talking about cleaning first. How do you clean your food? How do you clean these products? Are you doing proper washing? Are you doing proper sorting? When you talk of separation, your grains, you have to take time to pick it. I don't know what is happening now, but I know that in the past, our mothers would take their time and pick these grains. You remove every particles. Sometimes there could be cross-contamination. You could find metals or strands of hair, and the food is already unsafe from just that. After the separation, you talk about how do you preserve, how do you even preserve, like if you buy chicken or meat product and you want to preserve it, you don't just throw it in the freezer and then EEDC takes light and you still leave it there. 2 days, no light, you're still hoping that it's still cold. Oh. There are specific temperatures that you should store your food. When it goes beyond that, your food is stored and it's unsafe these toxins start poking their heads out. So we need to store at the appropriate temperature, depending on the food you're storing. And then you talk about when you're cooking your food, you need to cook at the right temperature. From 70 degrees Celsius and above. You can't be boiling meat and you just do 50 degrees and you say your meat is fine. I don't know, Igbo people will say that eating sushi, they eat live uncooked. I don't know how that works, but we should cook our food. You kill these bacteria. They're very stubborn. So you need a right amount of heat to get them so they don't survive there. Apart from the cooking, we've talked about storage. Then the other things are your general hygienic practices. You can't be cooking and everywhere is messed up. Even your surrounding. You go to the market to buy things. When you see how unkempt the place is, I don't know how you have the confidence to go and buy vegetables from there. Then our ripening techniques, it's appalling what is happening. People do all sorts. You don't want to harvest at the right time. Why do you harvest these? You harvest plantain before it's due. You harvest oranges, mangoes, bananas before it's due. And then you start forcing it to get ripe. You apply carbide. You do all sorts of things they do now. And okay, yes, people want to see your product shining and colorful. And you see people using detergent to wash their fruits.
Now that you've spoken about detergents, some people cook eggs with detergent. How safe is that?
Of course.
And they sell it to us and we eat. I was thinking on these,
oh God. And there are lots of things that are going wrong, and we all need a lot of sensitization. It cannot be overflogged. We need to talk to the traders to tell them the implications of what they are doing. You're selling a packaged water and you are exposing it under the sun, directly under the sun. The effect of the sunlight on these plastics will definitely affect the water. And it's no longer the water it was at the point of manufacture. So a lot of sharp practices, and many Nigerians, many Anambrarians are comfortable doing it. They don't even know there's any harm in it until they are sensitized. So we need a lot of work. We need a lot of awareness campaign, which we are championing already. We're having a market intervention program coming up next week. We're going to hit all the markets in Anambra, sensitizing them about some of these sharp practices and the need to enhance and enforce food safety.
Okay. Now, Dr. Rose, do we have food safety policies and laws in Anambra? If we do, how friendly are they? Are they being implemented?
You know, food safety is just a new program in the Ministry of Health. And that is what we are working on now, to make sure that we domesticate the national policy. But what is still, you know, the national policy was made, but the bill was not enacted. That is still what is still holding, because people are now out. We now have a club, an NGO that collaborated with us to ensure that Anambra State get things right when it concerns to food and water we consume. But we're working on that now to make sure that Anambra State have their own domesticate those laws, policies, so that our people will be sensitized to conform with that policy, to ensure that we get it right along the food chain. But people are just doing anything they like on that when it concerns to food, as their knowledge, as they understand, and they do a lot of things, all frauds, and all. Will I use quackery now in food and to bring things on, to the market, and people are buying. Okay. Even at home, say, okay, look at our people cooking of food, like he's cooking moi and with waterproof. We know that it's not good, it's not healthy. It's not healthy because we have what we call dioxin that is in that waterproof. which they used to cook those things. Once they heat that or moi moi, with even they are cooking akpu now with waterproof. They will just mix that akpu. They will just mix that akpu and put it inside a big waterproof and put it inside fire.
God.
When I saw one woman that was doing it, I went there to sensitize her on the wrong thing she's doing. Do you know what she told me? She doesn't want any pieces of that akpu to get lost. Because if she was doing it the normal way, where people will put the first one and pound and bring out again and do the second one, some of the apple will just get wasted.
Okay, now.
So she wants to collect all of them. Then exposing people to danger.
Else.
Do you understand?
Okay, now are we seeing acculturation here? You know, people learning some cultures and then making it their culture. Because what you said now, Ndiba and Mbochi, there's a process they take in preparing apple. And we didn't have as much debt as we have now, food-related debts as we have now. So, can we say that our people are ignorant, or that they just want this to be their culture and they've adopted it?
They don't want to suffer much now, because that person, they're using something they call machine engine. They put that data as they brought it with the waterproof and begin to turn that thing with the engine.
Are you serious?
And he said maybe when there will be pieces of iron.
Yes.
Metals that will also enter into the system. That is what they do in all these apple we are buying. Majority of them now no more pounding the apple with mortar. So all those things are unsafe acts they are doing, just to make things easy to suit them, without knowing that they are putting life of people into danger.
Okay, now what it means is that we need to have collaborations, partnership for us to get this sorted out.
Very important.
Now, Engineer Dora, how do we start off? How do we start off engaging our people and making them know that you're fighting for their lives? Because once you're going into the market soon, all the markets in Anambra very soon, and once they see you, they will say, "Dear wicked people are. They've come again. They want to, destroy our means of livelihood."
Yes.
Where do we start from?
Well, it's an intervention, so it's like a campaign. So I'm sure they wouldn't stone us. But yes, very key. Collaboration, very, very important. Very, very important. We are already working on meeting Anambra State government on this. And I'm happy that Doctor is here. And we have a lot to synergize on. Concerning this food safety, very, very key. We can't do it alone. We cover the whole of Southeast. So we are not even enough for Anambra. So there must be need for this collaboration to sensitize people. A lot of sharp practices, I don't know whether it's just poverty or easy life. Like she said, people are getting lazy by the day. Nobody wants to pound it the way our mamas used to do it then. Everybody wants it to be fast and easy.
Now?
Low-key people, So we need to collaborate and hit them, create awareness. If the woman that is tying the fufu in nylon is being told of the harmful effects of this polythene that she's using and heating, probably she would have a rethink and know that, oh, this is not fair, because what goes around comes around. If I'm not doing it to myself, it could happen to my relation tomorrow because of what I'm doing. So there is serious need for this collaboration.
Okay, now, okay, you want to talk?
Yes, in our own side, Ministry of Health, we have many activities planned to make sure that our people do it right. We plan sensitization, going on air, calling different
stakeholders.
What they call it, all these market leaders and all the rest of them, those that sell food according to the categories.
Yes.
On training, we plan to train them, telling them the best practices, what they're supposed to do, so that they will not, our people will, all these foodborne illnesses and foodborne diseases will be reduced to a minimum. Because that is even what this thing is telling us. Actions we will do to reduce the food burden. Starting from to make sure that we enhance the good health of our people. In all people that are along the food chain, agriculture and the rest of them, and they are even ensure give way for this thing. And when there is an emergency, what are the responses we're supposed to do to ensure that will do it right this time. That is what the action this year, Global Food Safety Day, is telling us. Everybody is involved, should be involved in this food safety. Provided you eat food, you must be involved in this food safety. Okay. Provided you handle food in any way, you must be involved. So that.
And what about those who watch, those consumers who watch people contaminate food and then we don't report? Makamam, that the woman who processes cassava, into a swallow, has neighbors who see her using bleach on cassava to make it white and all this, and then process fast.
It makes it to soften it,
soften fast,
make it white.
So somebody sees her. Somebody sees the orange, the orange seller, who is also using some colors or something, I don't know, some chemicals with colors that will ripen it and all this. You see it and you watch. Some even video, film it and all this without reporting. How active should our people be in making sure that these cases are reported and not, killed?
Very proactive, I would say, because the best consumer is the proactive consumer who knows his or her rights, of which one of the rights is the right to speak up. You complain, you have a right to complain, you have a right to report what you have seen. Abroad, they will say, if you see something, you say something. And that is what it should be applicable globally. The offices are there, waiting. We can't, we're not spirits. So we most times act on what the whistleblowers feed us. Our doctor is in her office, Ministry of Health. She's not going to be in all the markets. So if any consumer out there sees any of these sharp practices, you can do a video if you can, or you can just come and report and give us the location. We'll go there and sensitize or enforce as the case may be.
Do you have something like hotlines?
Yes, okay. We have our email addresses, we have our physical addresses, we have our phone numbers.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, we want to thank you enough. We can't thank you enough. We want to thank you immensely because we have actually raised our knowledge level on food safety. And I believe that Anambra, who have joined us, have also learned a lot. Thank you very much, Engineer Adora Mbaheg, Quality Assurance and Development of Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And we can't thank you enough, Dr. Rose Nwaneka Amasiane, the Manager of Food Safety and Hygiene, and of course, WASH at the Ministry of Health. Dalo Rinde.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, the ball is in your court. The ball is in your court as Anambra. Roll it. Roll it by making sure that your food is safe. Report anybody who engages in unwholesome practices that get our food unsafe. Report them. The ministry is there. Even in ABS here, we can also link you up. So make sure that you are an ambassador, a soldier, making sure that your people living around you are safe when they eat any type of food in Nigeria. Thanks a lot and happy World Food Safety Day. Ndewo.